Good evening, Stampers. How is everybody? Welcome to Thursday's Tools and Techniques Thursday, right? So, are you guys all excited to see how you can create 4 cards rather quickly? I call this technique stripping sentiments, okay? Because we're going to leave a strip to put our sentiments on. And I went to come on and realized I hadn't cut my 1 layer of paper. So I'm going to do that while everybody is coming on tonight. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. I am going to get on my phone so I can see your, oops, there we go. Nope. I'm not on yet. So I'm waiting here to see when I come on live. So we don't have anybody on. So I'm thinking that everybody else hasn't come on either. You haven't gotten the notification yet. So I'm just taking a piece of cardstock and cutting it into 4 equal segments that measure 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. So let's see if Judy is on yet. Okay, no, I am not seeing myself. Let me get back on here and see if I am showing up. We have been having some difficulty with our, I am on, so that is the good news. So let me know, and it's showing that I do have some people on. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, so we have been having troubles with our internet because we had some terrible windstorms come through last night. And I was sitting in the living room, Dave had gone to bed, and all I kept hearing was this banging against the side of the house. It was our neighbors' tree branches falling down and whipping and hitting the side of our window and the side of our house. I heard gutters rolling around outside. So I was outside picking up our neighbors' gutters for them and stuff. So please let me know if you are getting any kind of a feedback from here. And let me see. I'm just setting this up. Sorry. Usually right on cue, but I wasn't sure I was coming on because of those windstorms last night. My phone is being crooked. Now, I'm hoping that Dave is actually quiet tonight. I told him I have a live. You need to be quiet because he has some friends over. So let's hope that he is quiet. So for the first 3 people that share this video, I'm going to, or 4 people, I'm going to send these cards that I make tonight. Okay. So afterwards, I will contact you and ask you to private message me your address if I don't already have it. If I have it, you don't need to send it to me. So, but I will contact you if I need that. If you're watching it on Facebook, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and the hearts if you're loving what I'm showing you tonight. And if you're on my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe below and click on notifications so you're notified every time I come on. So let's get started. I'm going to flip you around. As you know, I have been using my webcam instead of my phone because we were having issues when I had my phone also. So nice and close. We are only going to be using stamps, ink, and paper. So I have 4 card bases out of basic white that are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. We'll be folding on those score lines in a little bit. I have 3 ink colors, and then I have 4 pieces of basic white that measure 3 3/4. As I'm looking at this one piece, I think it's too long. 1, 2, 3. Let me make sure this one is the correct length. 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And now this one is 5 1/4. So cut that little bit off. So we're going to be using 4 of those. Let me get this out of the way here. I have got my mic on. Oh my gosh. And I have got wires all over the place. Sorry about that. And then I have 4 pieces of mossy meadow that measure 4 by 5 1/4 as our mat. I am also using a strip of my graph paper. I'm just going to use this for our strip tonight. Then we have 3 ink colors, which is Mossy Meadow, Cherry Cobbler, and Misty Moonlight. And then I have the coordinating markers. Okay, we're going to need those and a ruler or some kind of a straight edge. Okay, we may need that on some of them and we may not. We'll just see how it goes tonight, okay? The stamp sets I'm going to be using are the Forever Fern and the Artistically Inked. Okay, I love these, the eucalyptus. I kind of use them kind of as berries in my accents. We're going to be using this large flower, this flower here, this trio of flowers, this leaf. I may throw this leaf in here too. Never know. And we may even use those speckles. We're just going to design as we go. And I'm going to show you a couple that I have done ahead of time before. So I am taking my basic white and I'm going to line it up here. And I don't necessarily want it centered top to bottom, and it doesn't matter sideways at all. We're just going to put our piece of graph paper across there. Now, you could also use Post-it strips for this. And I usually have those long ones, but I didn't have any long enough for tonight. I want this to be, I'm going to measure an inch, and I want it to be down a little bit more than it's up. So I want to go, I know my 1/2 inch is here, my other 1/2 inch is here. So I'm going to have more room at the top of my card than I am at my bottom of my card. So this one, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 1/4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 3/4. And we're just going to line this up so that that's straight. We're going to take our strip here and I'm just going to lay that back down, and I wanted a 1/2 inch below that straight line. I could actually move that up and down. I'm a creature of habit, and that's kind of the habit I've had. So I'm just going to take a little bit of, ooh, I don't have adhesive here. So I'm not going to take any adhesive. Oh dear. Because I had my glue here. So let me see if I thought I had some adhesive underneath, but I didn't. It's sticking on this side. So that's good. So that's just going to hold that straight. I'm going to open all my ink pads, and you can use any stamp set for this, but I like to use 3 colors for this, and I like to use more solid images than outline images because it's got more impact to it. So I'm going to do the leaves in the green, and let me start with this flower. We're going to do that in the Cherry Cobbler. And I am just going to place that right over here. Okay, stamping over both, holding it for a second. And you're going to notice, because this is not Post-it note, so I should have used copy paper, it's going to leave a little line there, but don't worry about that. Now, both these sets are distinctive sets. So you want to make sure that your ink pads are pretty dry. And unfortunately, my Mossy Meadow, I just inked up and I forgot to bring a spoon down with me. So I'm going to stamp off, and it still gives me enough color. So I am just going to figure out where I want these images. And I'm going to pretend this bouquet is kind of going across here. So let's do this one this way, just for something different. And don't worry if the image is cut off a little bit. It's supposed to be. Now I'm going to take my next biggest image, which is the Eucalyptus Leaves Let me check that. Okay. Actually, that pad is a little dry. Oops. We're going to put that right up this way. And I'm going to put another one of these down this way. And I'm going to move my pads a little bit. They're kind of in my way there. We'll take, and I'm going to do just a little bit of one right here. And I am going to, I don't have a mask. I have a small piece of Post-it note. So I'm just going to stick that. Ooh, let's do it coming from the flower this way. I kind of wanted to go in up this way. We can still do it that way. Just right up there. And the images can go off your paper, okay? So we've got that, and I just moved everything. Make sure my paper is still there. Now I'm going to go with my smaller flowers. And to begin with, I want a couple of these really small flowers, and I am going to do those in Cherry Cobbler also. So I am just going to stamp those sporadically around here. Let's do it up here. So I'm only inking up that one image. And we'll just do 2 down here. Then I'm going to clean my stamp off, and I'm going to do the other 2. Okay, so I'm omitting part of the image. I could do all 3. If I hadn't to step that one out there, I could have done 3. Okay, and I want some of these images down here too, along that strip. And it's okay if they go off the paper. Don't forget, I'm going to do another one right here because I got a little bit of a smudge there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So odd is good. Okay, we're going to pull that away. And this is where we're stripping for the sentiment. I didn't want to put strip for the sentiment in my teaser tonight because that sounded kind of funny. So this is where we're going to take our ruler, and we're going to just go right along here, line that up straight. And with this one, I think we're going to use the Mossy Meadow. And I am using the brush tip. What I love about our Stampin' Write markers is they coordinate greatly with our ink pads. It's the same ink. Now, if you didn't have the Stampin' Write marker for this step, now I'm going to line this up so I get it straight because I don't have enough of an image here to do it straight. Let me move this down, just lining up that so I can line this up with the lines on my grid paper. So I'm using my grid paper to help me with this. And we're going to do another thin line. Now you can make those lines as thick or thin as you want, and you could decide which way you want this. Do you want this to be the bottom of your card or this? Okay, so before we go on to the next step, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to create a couple more. Now this one's going horizontal. This next one's going to go horizontal also. I'm just going to put it on here. I could put a little bit of tape if I had my tape dispenser here. And let's put this across. And instead of going 1, 2, I'm going to go 3 lines down this time. So I'm going to make it a little bit farther down. Okay, and I'm going to move this one up just a little bit. So I want a lot more image on the top part than on the bottom part of my card. Okay, same thing, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. We're going to use the same stamps, and remember I'm stamping off with this one just because it is inked a lot. So I've got that green, the Mossy Meadow. Let's go with the Misty Moonlight. How many of you love Misty Moonlight? It's one of my favorites. So we're going to do that there. And we're going to put a piece of Post-it note down here. It almost looks like it's crooked to me. Line this up. But it's all lined up. I don't want to get anything on the bottom half. So I am just kind of moving that in right there. So we'll have those. Now let's go to the bottom. I'm going to ink off just because I have a lot of ink and I don't have my spoon here. And we're doing this one just a little bit different. So I'm going to have a couple leaves here in this corner. I'm just trying to show you the different variations that you can come up with when you are doing this and not switching out your stamps. And that's what's so much fun. So we have that there. Okay, now on the top up here, I do want to do another one coming out at the top. So I'm just going to take that right there, and it's going to be coming over that flower a little bit, or that leaf. And don't worry about if it's over that leaf. Now, right there, I've got a goober because I had this because I didn't have a mask. That's okay. I'm going to clean off my little flowers, and we're going to be stamping 3 of these at one time, and we are going to be using the same Misty Moonlight. Okay, so we're just putting a couple flowers. Let's do one down here. It didn't stamp real well, so we'll go over it. Better pressure. Okay, so there we go again. So we can choose the Mossy Meadow or the Misty Moonlight. I'm going to go with the Misty Moonlight this time and do a quick strip across. Now, I could really whip these out really quick if I wasn't talking so much. So this is a great technique to use when you need to do a lot of cards, let's say invitations or thank you cards, whatever. So here we've got our second look there. So those are 2 horizontal. Let's go ahead and stamp our sentiments. I have thanks and happy birthday. This one, I am going to use the cherry cobbler. Sorry, my ink pad is partly on my stand. And I'm going to put it so it's partially between both images. Just like that. This one we're going to switch. Let's clean our stamp off. And we are going to use Misty Moonlight, this one. I am going to take my pads off my stand so it doesn't shake so much. And I am going to put that right underneath. You know what? I like it that way better. So let's put it right underneath, right there. Hope and pray we get it straight. Okay? So 2 cards done, right? Let's go. These are going to be vertical. So for these, hang on just a second. I am so sorry about that. I don't normally work on the other side of my studio where my students go, but I've been doing my Christmas cards. So I have decided that I needed to use that side of my studio also. So I'm going to put these on here, and we're going to do both of these the same. So I'm going to line this up to that center right there and hold that down. Got a little bit of tape holding both of these down. So just making sure they're straight. I'm going to do the same thing with my mask or my strip here. And I want it down to about here. So now that's going to hold. So we're going to do both these cards at the same time. And I'm going to do them both the same. I am going to switch my colors up. I'm going to do my flowers blue, and then the Misty Moonlight, and then we're going to do our eucalyptus in the cherry cobbler. So I want to make sure I clean all these really good. Okay, and like I said, they're both going to be the same, but it's going to be interesting to see how these come out because we're doing both cards at the same time. So I am going to stamp this flower here. And we're going to stamp this one on this side. Okay, then I'm going to grab my leaves. And we will put some leaves right here. And look, I forgot to stamp off. That's how dark it comes out if you don't stamp off. And my pad is really, really juicy. Now I'm just want to cover up part of this flower right here because I want to bring the stem up here. And you are going to notice that when I do this, it's going to go on to my second card. Okay, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to fix that little halo, as I call it. Stamp off. Now, stamping off doesn't always work with our distinctive stamps. So, you know, usually I do take a spoon and rub my, distribute my ink elsewhere. Put this one on the side. So this one is going to be kind of across, and this one's going to be a cluster right here. Okay, so let's go in with our other flowers. And we are going to put in, I'm going to do the little ones first. So let's do our red eucalyptus first and get some of those coming out here. Oh, where's that Post-it note? This Post-it note trick, you guys, it works better if you do make a mask where you stamp this and then cut around it. Let's do this one coming from the leaves to branch that one out a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of blotchiness. On this one, I am going to go also down here, just giving my cards, even though I'm using the same stamps, I want to give them each a different look. So let's stamp this one right between the two. So once again, we've got a flower in between the two. Now let's go with the threesome. And we're going to stamp between the two again over here. Let's do some here. We're really spreading this one out. They're going to be a little bit different, but see how fast you can create with this. Okay, let's rip it up and see what we have. It's really stuck because I attached it with Stampin' Seal. Okay, so we're done with our ink pads so far. We're going to decorate our envelopes also. And I'm going to take these up and look at. We did both those at one time, but look at the two different looks we got. They're very similar, but not exactly the same. So this one has more blue. So I'm going to take the cherry cobbler and do my 2 lines here with my cherry cobbler. Just, you can eyeball where that line is, where the ink stopped. Let's take that way. And line this one up this way. And you could use the fine line side, the writer side, but I like using the brush tip. On this one, I think we are going to, let's use the Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight is one of my favorite colors. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wash off the edge of that marker, or the ruler, because these markers are our water-based markers, and they do come in sets and family sets. So choose your favorite family. And if you did not, once again, if you didn't have the Stampin' Write markers, you could use your blender pen and get ink on the blender pen and do the same thing. Okay, so we've got that. I dropped my lid for this one. Oops, it's on the floor. You want to cap those up right away. Okay, so let's do our sentiments. And on this one, we are going to do happy birthday. And I think I'm going to use the cherry cobbler because our flowers are, and this is a smaller sentiment, so it's not going to fill that space up as much. So what I'm going to do is, we've got these flowers. I am just going to go ahead and put a couple flowers right at the end there. That just helps fill that up. And on this one, let's do another happy birthday. So we've got 2 thank yous and 2 happy birthdays. And I am going to use the Misty Moonlight on this one. And just put our happy birthday. Now, we could also use some embellishments on here. I don't think that it necessarily needs it. And I promised you we were only using stamps, inks, and paper tonight. So that is what we are going to finish these up with. So we have our assorted cards here. Then I have my layers, and all my layers are the Mossy Meadow, and they all measure 4 1/4 or 4 by 5 1/4. Put that on there, and just look at how fast these are going together, even with my talking, right? I think we're in, I know I've been on a half hour, but I didn't start right away. I think we're in about 20 minutes, not even. So how often can you make 4 cards this quickly? Sometimes I can't make 1 card this quickly. If you're like me. Oh, no. Sometimes designing cards takes the longest, doesn't it? And this, this idea you can use, with, like I said, really any stamp set that's I like the solid images better. Okay, we are going to do basic white bases for this. So it makes it very simple. This is very economical also. So that's why if you have a lot of cards that you need to be making, invitations, holiday thank you cards. These would be gorgeous holiday thank you cards too. It's not the true red, you've got the red and the green in there, but then the blue is thrown in there. And, if you change these colors, okay, so if you change this to a brighter green and a bright, like even Pacific Point or Night of Navy and real red, you could do these for July birthdays, you guys, or July thank yous, using the same stamp set. So you could just alternate your colors and very easily change those up. Let's get this one on here, and one more right here. Don't forget to burnish those fold lines. Now I will leave the insides without a verse, but I always decorate my card, the inside of the card. So very easily, all we have to do is choose a stamp that we want. And this one has the blue flowers. So we can stamp some blue flowers along the edge. Just like that. That's a happy birthday. Here's our thanks. Oh, let's go with our other blue flowers. This thanks have blue flowers. So let's do this one a little bit different. Let's put this one here in the corner. I'm going to turn my stamp around a little bit so we don't get the same images. And then just like that in that corner. So we've got 2 of them done. This one also had blue flowers. I've used the blue flowers a lot more than I thought I did. So let's do this one differently. Let's just put that down in the bottom left-hand corner. Let's clean our stamp off very quickly, and we're going to open up our cherry cobbler, because we did have one with cherry cobbler flowers on it. So let's just put a couple right up there in that corner. Now, I promised you that we would do our envelopes also to coordinate. So I'm just going to show you one real quickly. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do the same idea. I'm going to mask off, and I have some smaller Post-it notes. Oh, let me get another fresh one because we're doing that white envelope. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to do the flap. Okay, so we'll do this flap, and I don't want to get the front dirty. So I could just go across and fill it all in. But with this one, I wanted to very similar to my card. So let me clean all my stamps off so I make sure that I don't contaminate my pad and mix up the colors. Okay, open this Mossy Meadow again. So I'm going to take my cherry cobbler and I am going to do my flower right up here. And I'm doing it right at the edge, so I want it coming from the front. Let's take a couple of our green Mossy Meadow leaves here. Just like that. And then let's grab our Misty Moonlight. And we're just going to do a couple sprigs coming out from there. And I think I want a sprig from the middle. So I'm going to do something I probably should have done before. I'm just tearing that in kind of a rounded shape to follow that. And I'm just going to put that down right over. So we just have a couple of those leaves coming out. So we have this one just like that. Now I did get a little bit here, so let me grab my blue again, and I am just going to grab the big flower here, and let's stamp a couple big flowers. Okay, so how gorgeous is that? So this one is going to go with this thank you card, and on the front, should have done this before I put the, just going to do one of these sprigs, just like that. Okay, so there are 4 quick cards with sentiment stripping, as I call it, and very similar. You could cut your cardstock at 5 inches and then put 1 strip across and just stamp and then cut it down. So you'd be doing 2 cards at one time without having to make sure that they stay right next to each other. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Well, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I like them both ways, and it's such an easy technique to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be popping on again, I think, tomorrow. So until next time, everybody, happy stamping. Bye-bye.